What's up, everybody? Welcome to In Love with Horror, your destination for all things horror. And this is everything that we watched in the month of January. So go ahead and kick us off for the first film that we watched.
So the first thing we watched over the New Year's holiday weekend was Saltburn.
Mm-hmm.
And Saltburn is about this like seemingly normal kid who kind of like befriends this rich kid who's like the it guy on campus.
Yep.
And so the story is about him kind of like getting to know him, his family, his friends, and some unexpected things occur.
Yeah, then it just kind of starts to get weird.
Yeah.
That's essentially
basically all it is. But a lot of people call this like a super disturbing film, but I don't feel like it was super disturbing. It was just really like some scenes were just like, oh wow.
Yeah, I don't think it's disturbing in its themes. It's not disturbing in like the visuals. Like I think when people think disturbing, they think extreme gore.
Yeah.
And this movie doesn't really have like extreme gore or anything like that. It's more disturbing in its themes.
Yeah,
I feel like that's how it is. But yeah, this is a very surprising film. I know I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was very like suspenseful and weird and kept you engaged. That's one thing I can say is that like
that's
all
true.
the odd things that are going on keep you engaged in this movie. And when it starts to get really strange, like even more like just throw for a loop, but like what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, no, that I like Saltburn. I thought it was pretty good. And I like disturbing movies anyway. So as soon as I heard, like, I think you mentioned it to me, like, oh, this is a disturbing one. I'm like, all right, put that on the watch list. Right. That's up my alley then.
Well, I rated it 3 stars.
Yeah, I think I would have went probably like 3.5 because it also had that weird like 4:3 format.
Yeah,
which I thought was cool.
Creative.
I like when people do creative stuff like that. It kind of switches up like the composition and just the look of the movie and the different shots and the performances. I thought were like really good. So
I did enjoy them.
So I would probably give it like a 3.5 personally. But yeah, Saltburn.
That was Saltburn.
Check that one out if you like weird and disturbing type of movies.
The next thing we watched was Rebel Moon Part 1 on Netflix. And I don't even know what that was about. No.
Yeah, so Rebel Moon is kind of like a take on Star Wars in so in that
sort of
you've got this empire that's essentially trying to take over the galaxy, just like the empire in Star Wars. So you got, these group of farmers who are just on this planet farming, minding their own business. And you learn that there is a rebellion out there, and they've been searching for the leader of this rebellion, and they happen to come upon this planet while they're in that search, and they kind of, use their power to be like, hey, you're going to give us this amount of, food and produce, whatever the case may be. And then we discover that, this woman is, she a badass. I won't go into like the background, but she's a badass. You see in the trailers. And then the story kind of unfolds of this like, journey or adventure through the galaxy trying to, build up the rebellion to fight back against this empire. Essentially. And to be honest with you, I don't remember even what the empire was called
I don't either.
At this point because we watched it, at the beginning of the month. And I think that speaks to some of the elements of this movie being forgettable.
Yes. I was about to say. A lot of stuff was forgettable. And I didn't like the main character in this movie.
Yeah, it's weird because like when she was fighting and stuff, I was cool with it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, like her like emotional range and the facial expressions is very limited.
It was 2.
It's like
it was
2
2 out of 10.
Yeah, it was like 2 emotion options that she had. I put it like this. I thought the visuals were really good. I thought like the way like the creatures look, the concepts, the ships, like the visual effects, the fighting, like all those elements, the like journey adventure element, I thought was dope. But the movie is boring because and it's unfortunate. It's boring because I almost feel like it needs to be a longer movie so you actually get to spend time.
But it was very long.
I think it needs to be longer. I think it's like a Zack Snyder's Justice League situation. I know you didn't watch that.
No.
But they basically took Justice League, right, which was already like a 2-hour movie, and they allowed Zack Snyder to do his cut of this movie, right, which was like 4 hours. It was like an epic.
That's crazy,
right? But because you got so much detail, you're like, dang, this story is way more interesting because there's like this crazy amount of build up and backstory,
right?
And I feel like that's what this movie needed. That's what it lacked because you don't really care. You know what I'm saying? You're just kind of like, and you're jumping from, You literally like it goes to one planet. You learn about this planet, the character, and then you jump to the next one. And like there's no.
It kind of reminded me of like Mandalorian and that. Even though the first season, how he was going like to these different planets.
Just like place to place.
But it was like 30 minutes, of a show. And that's all we got. So it's very like much like that.
Yeah.
But I gave this a 2.5.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think 2.5 is good.
But that's Rebel Moon.
That's Rebel Moon. Check it. I mean, like they try to say it's like, the modern day Star Wars, or I forgot. They were using some sort of terminology with Star Wars, but I would say watch it once if you want to see some cool action, some cool concepts, but go in with the expectation of like, this is not going to be
Star Wars,
like a memorable story or characters. Yeah, it ain't got nothing on Star Wars.
The next thing we watched was X. And I know this is an older movie. Everyone's probably already seen this, but I'm just now kind of like, I'm gonna say I mainly was never really interested in watching it,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone was talking about how excited they were about Maxine coming out this year. So I was like, well, let me go and watch the older ones because I wouldn't know anything about Maxine. So this is my first time watching X.
Yeah, and of course I had seen it before. So this is my second time watching it with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I still liked it just as much as I liked it the first time I watched it. I really liked the performances. I liked the very simplified story in the sense of, they go to this house to shoot a porno, and the next thing you know, there's someone, killing them. You know what I'm saying? It's a very like simplified, premise, but it's got some interesting concepts with like the messaging, and there's some emotional weight to it in the sense of, when you start to learn about the backstory of the couple, which I would call like, the antagonist. But yeah, I thought it was like it's a fun movie. Like it's definitely a popcorn horror flick. And I feel like it's just a good time. I liked it.
I gave it 3.5.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I would even inch it close to a 4 personally, but
yeah,
good.
I think a lot of more people probably like this more than I did. I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of Mia Goth.
Yeah, which I don't get why.
I'm just not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't explain it, but that's just my thoughts.
Yeah,
I think she's an okay actress. I think that I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just don't really like. her that
sometimes
much.
one of them things where you just don't like somebody, and it is what it is.
I don't even really have an explanation.
Yeah, but we definitely got to check out Pearl, so then we'll be set up and ready
next.
for Maxine. So that's the next thing, because neither one of us have seen Pearl, so that's on the list now. But yeah, that's X.
Yep. Next is Society of the Snow. And
oh yeah,
this is about the Uruguayan. It wasn't soccer. I keep thinking soccer, but it's
it was a rugby team.
Rugby team that their plane went down in like Chile, in the Chile mountains. And the story is basically, the story, right? Everyone should know this story. There's been another movie made about this story before. I think Ethan Hawke was in it, I believe. I don't know if you remember that one or not. But this one is much more authentic. Like they use actual Uruguayan people. They're speaking in Spanish. But yeah, this movie was awesome. I absolutely this is probably my favorite movie I've seen all year so far.
Really?
Yes, wow. I loved this movie. I gave it 4 stars only because I don't know. I think I wanted a little bit more action in some of the scenes. I feel like he did an excellent job with some of the stuff, but I just don't know. I just want a little bit more action. But it was just really emotional. And I loved the way he shot it. Like you felt like you were claustrophobic. Like that's the way I feel like he shot a lot of the scenes, and when they were like in the plane under the snow and stuff like that. And then when he was showing like the vastness of where they were, you got those really wide shots where you're just like, dang, how can anyone find these people when they're so small compared to these mountains? But yeah, I thought it was a really, really well done movie.
Yeah, this one, I'm not gonna really give it a rating because I don't think it would really be fair. Because I think when we watched this, I wasn't really in the mood to watch this type of film.
Okay.
Because I fell asleep. Like
I don't remember. Maybe you did.
Yeah, I fell asleep definitely because there were some parts where you mentioned after we had finished it. I remember when this happened. I was like, nah.
Okay.
And I don't even think I finished it. I think I went and did something.
Did you? I don't remember.
I think I went to the store or I did something. Where I left it. I did not. I didn't sit there and finish it with you.
Okay, well.
But that's why I'm not going to give it a rating because I think ultimately, like, I just wasn't in the mood. And I think because of that, a lot of the aspects of it felt boring. I think that's why I
Mhm.
fell asleep, because it just didn't feel like it wasn't engaging me.
Yeah.
I liked the realism of it and
It was very realistic.
the very like disturbing elements.
Mhm.
Like, and it had a lot of weight with the performances. The performance is
Yeah.
really good.
One of I think the main character, I forgot his name now, that was narrating.
Mhm.
He was actually the son of one of the people that
Oh,
were
wow.
on the plane.
That's crazy.
So yeah, like you were saying, like it definitely was very realistic in that sense. Like he definitely did a good job of keeping it as
Oh, yeah.
authentic as possible. And I think this director, if I'm not mistaken, also has done like horror movies. And I kind of got that vibe in some of the ways, like some of the shots were made, like
Mhm.
when the plane was crashing and just like the impact of the different things that happened on like their bodies and
Yep.
stuff like that. It was just, I thought it was good.
Yeah. I'll have to try watching this one again. I'm not going to rate it, but I just know that for some reason in that moment, I just was not in the mood to watch this, and I fell asleep and all types of shit. So I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's what's that movie called again?
Society of the Snow.
There you go, y'all.
Next up is Night Swim.
Yep.
We watched this in theaters.
Yeah, this shit was trash. So
this is about a haunted. Well, a lot of people describe this as being about a haunted pool, but it's really about haunted water that's in a pool.
yeah, well, remember, you don't want to give nothing away.
Well, I'm just telling you that's what it is.
It's basically about this family that moves into this house that has a swimming pool, and the swimming pool is discovered to have, weird properties, and it seems like it's haunted.
Weird properties. That's funny.
Yeah, and then it kind of goes out from there and turns into like a, Amityville horror haunting type of thing. But yeah, this movie just sucked all the way around. I thought the performances were weak. I thought the antagonists looked like the haunted ghosts, whatever they were, was super generic. It was boring. The pacing was weird, and I was just so uninterested. I was ready for it to be over. I thought this movie was terrible.
I gave it 2 stars because of like the beginning, like the opening sequence. I thought was the strongest sequence, like the tension building. Just the overall, I guess not scariness, but creepiness, eeriness. I thought they did very well with that in the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with that part, but I think that proves the point of this works better as a short than a full movie.
For sure.
Because the idea of the opening sequence is very much in the vein of a short. So like, yeah, it works that way when there's not like, when you're trying to build this expanded full length story. So I just think that just proves the point of this really didn't translate well to a full length feature film. I would give it like a 1.
Wow.
I would even 2 is 2 is way too generous for this.
Well, I might have to give it a 1.5. Meet in the middle.
Yeah, but that's Night Swim, y'all. Check it out. If I honestly can't recommend it. I wouldn't even waste your money on it. But if the concept of it, and if you like the short and you like the concept, maybe you could like it. I know some people did like it, right?
They did. Some people came at us really hard about our review.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, maybe it might be for you. So check it out.
All right. Next up is Destroy All Neighbors. We watched this like last weekend or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, this was that the music one.
Yes. Yep. I think it was on Shudder, I believe.
Yeah, it was Shudder.
But it's about this guy who is trying to finish his album, and he has a shit job. He has no money. He lives in a shit apartment, and he's got this new neighbor who won't stop making noise. And then this crazy wild journey comes after that, and it has a lot of like 80s nostalgia, 80s music.
Yep.
I forgot the type of music it was that he was trying to make, but it's called something. I don't know. But anyways,
it's like prog rock.
There you go. Yep, exactly. So if you like that, you would like this
I feel like this has that like horror comedy in the vein of like a Deathgasm, I think it's called, or something like that. So I feel like if you like stuff like that, you would like this. Yeah. I thought this was actually pretty good.
I thought it was pretty decent. There was some good humor. The practical effects were really, really well done. Generally, I thought it was a pretty good story. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars, just because it's not like my type of flavor. Like I don't really like rock music or anything like that, but I thought the general concept was good. And like I said, I like the practical effects.
Yeah, I would actually give it a 3 because because I feel like even if you don't like the rock aspect, I think this movie has a lot of fun elements and just how like wacky it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I think it's a movie that you got to be in the mood for. So you got to be ready to embrace like really like off the wall, weird.
I think that's probably what it
type
was for
of
me.
comedy.
I personally am not a big fan of that type of horror.
Yeah, like
so
the
it's just not
like
my type of thing.
Like the weird Evil Dead type of
definitely very much so
horror
like
comedy.
that Evil Dead vibes.
Yeah, so like you gotta like that style of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way it did it in here. I thought the use of the effects were really well done. There's some really good effects. Super over the top.
It is over the top.
Yeah, it's like ultra over the top, and so a lot of those aspects I actually really liked.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a very like fun movie. Like this is definitely one you can put on like in the daytime if you just want to watch something like that has a horror, you know,
and you want to
like
laugh,
overlay to it, and you just want to have a good time.
Yeah.
This is the kind of movie for that. So, yeah, Destroy All Your Neighbors. I think that's a thumbs up for me for sure.
Now the next one is not a movie; it was a documentary, and it was broken up into 3 parts, and it was American Nightmare from Netflix. Yeah. So that is basically about this couple who experiences this really wild thing. And I don't even want to talk about it. So you go watch it. If you like documentaries, true crime documentaries, you might really like this one.
I think the best way to describe it is it's a true crime documentary about a couple who experiences, a break-in. And then there's a lot of like accusations and thrown around whether they were telling the truth about what occurred, whether it was a hoax, whether it was like, a movie. So it's the kind of like true crime documentary where the way they set it up was like they always like kept like the details of the full thing, they laid it out almost like a movie in the sense of you're learning as the things are like unraveling, and like and for it to be like a real life story, there's so many different twists and turns.
It is,
and the documentary like makes you like as the viewer like almost react the same way the public would have reacted as the story was coming out at the time that this happened. So you might start the first episode and be like, oh yeah, this person definitely did it. But then by the time the second episode is going, you're like,
well, maybe this person did
it didn't go the way that this happened. By the time the third episode, you're like, oh man, this shit is really like a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like nothing is as it seems, something, is what it was. Like it's one of those things like where it's a very gripping and engaging true crime documentary. So like this is definitely one, because I don't even watch that many true crime documentaries.
I'll be trying to get you to watch them though.
But I could say as someone who doesn't even watch that many that this shit was good. So I know if you like if you like true crime documentaries, like this is a must watch
for sure
over on Netflix.
Yeah. So the next thing we watched was Lord of Misrule. And I've been trying to watch this movie forever.
Yeah.
We finally got a chance to watch it. So this is about this minister woman, and she's in a small town with her husband and her daughter. And there is like this big like festival, and her daughter goes missing. And so the movie is about her trying to find her daughter, get her daughter back. And different things are uncovered along the way. I really liked this movie a lot. I thought it was super good. I love it's very like a folk style.
Well, I'll let you finish, because what I'm going to say is it's going for like that Midsommar.
Yeah, I can see that. Wicker Man
type of vibe.
Type of vibe, exactly. Yeah. I think the tone was really good. I liked certain effects that you see throughout, near the end of the movie. I liked the music.
I will say that's the one piece that I would say is like the hardest part about this movie. How's that joint go?
I'm not gonna sing it. Well, anyway, it was in our heads for like 2 days.
All is as was. All is as was. That was the hardest part.
It was in our heads for like 2 days after we watched this.
That joint was fire.
I liked the main characters. Her performance, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
The dad was trash. I'm so tired of trash dads. Like, can we ever get
it's
a
like
dad
a trope
that's not
now.
trash?
It's like a trope.
I know, but I'm tired of that
like
trope.
The spouse to just be
Trash.
so stupidly, annoyingly oblivious to what's
So
going
dumb.
on. But well, let me let you
Go
finish
ahead.
your review. Okay,
No, go ahead.
Because I am different than you. I didn't really like this. I thought it was it just wasn't engaging. Like,
really?
Like, I know what they were going for,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't like, it wasn't pulling me in.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was kind of boring sometimes.
Yeah.
And
it was boring to you sometimes.
and I can't like pinpoint what exactly it was that was making me feel like that. I don't know if it was like a pacing thing, which it could have been. It could have been the pacing and like how they shot it. Like, it felt like, and that's the weird thing is like, I don't mind slower movies.
Yeah.
But there's something about the way this was running where I was just like, I'm just not feeling this for some reason. And then, obviously there's a lot of dumb things as expected. But I like the concept. I like the special effects. I really like the special effects a lot. And the performance of Ralph Ineson. Oh, yeah, that was dope. I
love
that dude is a beast.
I'm done. Like, if I see his name come up on something, I'm watching.
Yeah,
I really liked him in The Witch, but and I really liked him in this, but it's just like, I don't know, his vibe is just like super creepy.
He's got the ultimate vibe to be a villain.
He does.
He's got the perfect vibe,
like a white version of Tony Todd.
Oh, like, right, yeah, especially with his voice is very similar.
He got a super deep
and
voice.
Remember when he first came on screen and the first line he said, I started laughing because his voice is so deep. That was like, man, this dude was meant to be. I don't know what
octave that's in, but his voice is dumb deep.
He need to be doing like audio books or narrating or something like that. But his performance was dope. Like, I really liked it a lot. But unfortunately for me, this movie the concept was very strong. It was a lot of cool, like,
I agree with that.
Like cultural, like type of things.
But I feel like they didn't.
I don't know if it was real or not.
Into that hard enough. Yeah. That was my thing. Like, there was so many different pieces. And they didn't lean. I feel like they should have just went there with it because I feel like that would have made it a little bit better. And the ending was so dissatisfying.
I think it also would have helped too if they just made things a little bit more like believable in the sense of like what someone would actually do. Like, if you lose your kid, like, you're going hard. Like, I'm gonna give you an example.
The dad, he's trash.
Like, remember the movie Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal?
I do remember that.
Remember how that dad acted?
Yeah.
He was gonna get his daughter back.
That's how this dad should have been.
I want to see that. So it's like, I'm not sitting there like, what are you doing? Like, why are you at the house?
He was at the house the whole time.
Like, it should be like, man, I'm flipping cars, like, I'm cutting trees down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we did
make it believable.
A whole review about this movie.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Really let's cut it out.
I
gave it 2.5 stars.
I'm going like 1.5.
Ooh, that's ouch.
Yeah. Sorry. Hey, look, it just wasn't for me, man. Like I said, I like the concept. I would actually like to see what this team does with something else. I
can see that.
Just work on the execution a little bit better. But Lord of Misrule. All this was.
All right. The last thing we watched was All Fun and Games. And this is a Hulu movie, actually, I think it was. But this came out like last year at some point, but it's just now available on streaming. But in this movie, this kid and his brother are out doing whatever. They find a cursed object, and the cursed object makes them play games, and craziness ensues after that.
Yeah.
Now the girl, the played Nancy from Stranger Things is in this. We were like, we both said it at the exact same time. We're like, isn't that Nancy from Stranger Things?
Same time. Yep.
And then the other kid, I forgot which movie he's from, or show he's from, but there's another, the older brother.
Okay.
He's from something else too.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is kind of like what you expect. This is like a general B movie type.
Yeah, it's super generic.
Yeah, the performances aren't all that great.
Object thing. Possession.
Yeah. And you kind of know how it's gonna go, right? Even the creepy moments aren't all that scary.
No, it's just like a bunch of like flashes of
a lot of flashes
faces that they weren't even scary faces or anything.
Yeah.
It was like just extremely generic.
It was,
and I knew it was gonna be. I know even we were like looking at the thumbnail and the
he didn't want to watch it.
Yeah, I was like, you were like, you gonna watch this? I'm like, I already know it's not gonna be good. And I was right. This movie was boring. This movie is so boring. Like,
I think that there was a lot that could have been done with it. There were some like the source material, I think was good. And I feel like they could have done a little bit more. Maybe it was like a budget constraint or something. I don't know. But the source material I thought was good because I mean, I really like, the history of like the Salem witch trials and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like they could have, expanded a little bit more on that. Yeah. And then there was a bunch of exposition in this movie, like telling this, but yeah, I was being generous. I gave it 2 stars, but
I would give it a 1. In fact, now I'm thinking about it, going back to Lord of Misrule, I think I would bump that up to a 2 just based off how bad this movie was. It's like Lord of Misrule was like a mile ahead of this, and I didn't even really like that. So I'm bumping Lord of Misrule back up to 2, and I'm putting this at a 1.
Oh, what?
Like,
okay.
Because this movie was like bottom of the barrel. Like,
bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, this movie's not good.
Oh, it was okay. Down there. I was able to finish it.
And don't get me wrong, there's worse, but it's down there.
Yeah, there has been worse for sure. But that's it. That's all we've watched for January.
Yeah, so let us know down in the comments, y'all. One, what did y'all watch? And then what do you think about what we've watched so far? Do you agree with our reviews? Did you like some stuff a little bit more? You like some stuff a little bit less? And let us know, like I said, down in the comments what you watch, because we don't have a whole lot of time sometimes to watch stuff.
Yeah.
But we try to get to things, and we love recommendations. So if you got recommendations on something that we might have missed that either came out, within the last couple of months, or maybe it's an old film that you really enjoy, you want to recommend, let us know, man. We're going to try to check that out when we get the opportunity. And then we're going to attempt for the rest of the year to always do a, end of the month what we watched for each month that goes over all the things we watch, not even just related to horror. So if you, look, like I'm a big fan of John Wick, right? You want to talk about John Wick in the comments in this video? Fuck it. Put it down in the comments. We can talk about John Wick. Because that ain't on the list. I just realized that, y'all, I'm doing the outro. John Wick 1. Okay, on the list. Yeah, you did. Well, you went to sleep while we was watching.
I didn't watch any of that.
I rewatched it. That shit is hard. Look, if you haven't watched John Wick in a long time, the first one, it's still as hard as you remember. And yes, that's a 5. That movie is a 5. That movie is so fire from front to the end. That movie is crazy hard. Like, they really, it makes sense that they spun off, 3 other movies after that. Oh, because the shit is so hard. All right, that it don't make no sense. In fact, I didn't even tell you this. When I went to work after I watched that,
you told somebody?
No, well, I did bring it up at work. Like,
okay,
y'all remember like who here watched John Wick? So we talked about it. But I also re-looked up clips on YouTube because the fight scenes are so hard. That is like terrible. Keanu Reeves was fire. So
you at work watching Keanu Reeves
and think about it. That movie was so fire. They spun off all these other movies that mimic it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That are also still good, like Equalizer. I heard Beekeeper was good. That CC movie, I haven't watched that, but I heard that was good.
The silent one, but I heard that wasn't good. But it looked like a John Wick movie.
Yeah, so they've spun off like this whole genre of just whoop ass the whole movie. Yep. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, y'all, you could talk about any type of movie down in the comments below. It doesn't have to just be horror for this type of video where it's everything we watch. Yeah. But hey, look, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share it. Make sure you comment. And look, what we always say, subscribe to stay up to date on all things horror, y'all. Until next time, peace.